outlook, I see them as the most devoid or the most away from tech, right? So you can have the manufacturers, retailers probably integrated with their own existing systems. But
Yes.
how do you get these miners involved right now?
So most of the miners do have access to smartphones, but the challenge is most of the mining happens in remote locations far away from civilization. So similar to agricultural value chain, the governments in Africa have been encouraging them to form cooperatives. So similar to farming cooperatives, we have started seeing formation of mining cooperative houses in Zambia and in Tanzania and in Malawi. So these are a group of miners who come to a city like say Lusaka or Dar es Salaam or other prominent cities like Nairobi, which are trade centers of gemstones, and they form cooperatives, and they have installed capacities for storing the raw materials and generally have someone who can help them with the digitization of the inventories, such as access of computer and uploading the inventories.
Right. So that you're actually providing that facility for them, or the part of that?
No, so they already come up with that. So we just have to provide the platform for them. So they don't have access to the platform. They have just infrastructure for it.
Okay. So, and now is there a cost associated for them to actually, onboard with the platform with Ethically Plus?
No. So if you look at most of the other platforms, they are all subscription based, right? So most of them, why is it so? Because as I said, 50% of it is digitally excluded. 50% of it is large scale mining corporates. So you must have heard about De Beers or Alrosa or Rio Tinto. These are all big mining corporates which controls the rest of the industry. So they have the entire infrastructure in place. But you can't expect the SMEs or the ASMs to have the similar kind of infrastructure. So the other people who are providing provenance-based or traceability-based solutions, they target the large corporates who can afford the monthly subscription charges, which range from at least $100 and it could go up all the way till $500 or something like that. But when you talk about the devoid group, they cannot afford it. So initially what we are thinking is we'll roll out the platform, the usage will be free, and we'll charge a transaction commission for every successful transaction.
Okay. So when you mean by successful transaction, in terms of a miner, what does a successful transaction look like?
A bid happens to his asset, and he can transfer the ownership to the next user, that is buyer, and he receives the payment for the same. So the payment essentially routes via our escrow, and we charge a commission on that.
Okay. So that I just sort of went off track, I think, just because we were talking about the participants. So I just wanted to understand, how the participants will work. So just coming back to the topic of blockchain, right? So from your website, I found out that it's a Hyperledger Fabric that you're using, right? So
yes.
right, yeah. So I just wanted to know why did you decide to use Hyperledger Fabric, and then how did you come to that decision? Like, what was your how did you compare? Did you have a pro and con list that you actually made for blockchains, or how did you arrive at the decision to use Hyperledger Fabric?
Vinod, can you answer that?
Right, yeah. Sorry, anyone can take it.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. So if you want, I can repeat the question.
Yeah, no, I got your question. Thanks, Vinit, for the presentation. I think that's the first step. The question is about what type of a blockchain one should select, right? I mean, that's the first thing when we start building the blockchain, we try to do. So the choice for Hyperledger for us was, I would say, rather simple, because if you see the supply chain, specifically the jewelry industry, you have limited number of participants, and so we did not want this platform to be used by any user outside the ecosystem. So we actually, and also the participants, they want to have confidentiality in their transactions. They do not want to expose the transaction detail outside the ecosystem, and sometimes the transactions has to be between only the buyers and seller. It cannot be exposed also to the outside, also to the other organizations in the ecosystem. So for that, we felt private blockchains would be a good start. So one aspect is confidentiality. The second one is performance, the number of transactions that blockchain system can support per second, let's say, which is throughput. We also consider transaction latency, like transaction validation time it takes, and also the scalability aspect in terms of number of use participants it can support. So there were many points on which we try to compare, let's say, a public blockchain and the private blockchain, and I can think of confidentiality, the security.